Okay, I guess my mic was mute. So let's do this again. A very good evening to everyone who is present here, all the student developers and first-time people who are coming to a channel. Let's also take my screen in before we go and start the journey. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me very clearly. Hi Priya, I hope I am visible and audible to everyone in the chat very clearly. Can I get a quick confirmation, guys? I'm looking to chat quickly. Okay, yeah, is my audio okay? I hope my audio is fine. Just let me know very quickly so we can start off. Yes, great. Thank you so much, folks, and very sorry for the delay. It won't happen again. There was some things that we could not control, right? So let's quickly jump into learning React, right? So, but before that, as you all know, I am here to just help you guys to understand how to enroll yourself, mark your attendance, get your certificate, and basically complete all the process that is there apart from learning so that you get the certificates. And I saw a lot of queries regarding where's the certification link, how to enroll, how to get access, and how to mark attendance and all of that stuff. So since my screen is now visible, the only thing that you have to do is, if you just look down in the description, now this is for everyone. If you are coming first time, if you have already enrolled in the program, there is a link in the description, right? And I'm going to put that link in the chat as well, right? I'm going to copy the full link. You can choose any one of those, all in one doc. So this link is going to be your go-to destination for anything and everything in this whole program, right? So I'm just going, yeah, that's already pinned in the chat. So please bookmark this link, take a screenshot of whatever is written, send it to someone, just keep it handy, right? So let's quickly go over to that link, right? Okay, yeah, so here is the link. So I'm just, yeah, I have updated the link. Please go and check the link, right? So this is where you're going to, once you click on the link, right, this is where you will land, right? So the link says React Bootcamp. If you want to join a student ambassador program, get extra benefits like a course's worth of 89,000 swags and opportunity to interact with industry experts, you can join a student ambassador program, right? Now, again, the document link is mentioned. As I mentioned, you can just copy it from the URL and also just save this link. Now, as I mentioned, there are only 3 very important steps throughout the program. The first is to enroll, second is to attend the session, and third is to get certified. Now, since we're on the first step, you have to just go on this enrollment link. All you have to do is just click it. Let me just, there's some issue here. Okay, I guess this link, yeah, it is opening. I guess a lot of people are trying to open it for some reason. Just a minute. Yeah, the first step is you have to go on this link and basically enroll yourself. The second stuff is same page opens on please use Hindi. I'll try to keep it both, right? So do not worry about that. The second thing is, once you enroll, then you have to go and mark your attendance. Everything is on that same page. I'll just go on this step-by-step process to complete, right? That will be pretty much easy for everyone to understand. So once you click on the website or just open the link, you will land here. You have to just sign up if you have not done yet, and right. So if you're a new user, to just go through the sign up process and give your OTP mobile confirmation, and you will enroll yourself, right? And this is the whole process down here. Now, if you come through one link, right, one link is basically which is mentioned in the description right down below, right, which we saw. Once you click here, you will land somewhere like this. Now, this is the page where you can see all the program related details, right from your program progress to your communities like Telegram and WhatsApp, to refer and earn, and to basically every class schedule for that particular program, right? And there is a progress bar again here, if you see, right? Now again, understand, there is 2 important things that is there for you to get certifications. That is, the very first important step is to marking attendance, and second important step is to ensure that the program is over, right? So if you have more than 50% of attendance, then only you will get certificates, and of course the program should be over. It should be written down here somewhere. So this is how you mark the attendance, right? You can, this is how you access the links, and this is how you mark the attendance. There would be a button available, like if you go now, and there would be a button available there. And this is how the progress increases once you mark attendance. And once you have more than 50% attendance and the program is over, I'm again repeating, if you just complete 2 days and you say 50, it's more than 50%, the certificate would still not be available. It will be available only after the third session is over. And you should similarly see a download certificate option. First you would say generate certificate. Once you generate a certificate, there would be an option of download certificate, right? And then you can download, give the ratings, and that's about it. That is how you download the certificates. Now again, anyone who did not understand it, it's pretty much simple, right? I'm going to show you the document. This is the whole document. This is the place where we have documented each and everything, from login to sign up to getting into one link to marking attendance to referring your friends and joining our WhatsApp communities, right? So I hope everything is clear. Is everything clear, guys? Just let me know if everything is clear. Great. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll love to call Sarthak, who is going to be instructor for the day. Let me just remove my screen. And so that you can, start learning React. Hi, Sarthak, how are you?
Hey, hi, Pramod. Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I guess, clearly audible. So, yes,
Right.
Sarthak is instructor for learning React. So, just two things for you guys who are learning.
Mhm.
Practice everything Sarthak teaches and ask as much as queries so that you can learn the wonderful, you can say, library React, right? And yeah, over to you, Sarthak.
Yes, please. I would like to reiterate what Prasad said. For the purpose of redundancy, please practice what I am telling you right now. You have all the notes. You will always get all the notes. But what makes you different, what will make you a better engineer is if you practice and ask as many questions as you can. With that, I am going to go ahead and share my screen. That's the first step that I do. And you guys let me know if you can see my screen. I'm going to open the terminal. And I know it's right now it's a bit too small. Let me make it bigger. Is this good? Is this big enough? I'm going to depend a lot on you guys, your chats. I'm going to read your chats and I'm going to go from there. Okay. Code with Govind. Hindi use करूं? Hindi भी use कर सकता हूं. But I think as a language which everyone would understand, I would prefer English. Okay. Screen not visible or make it bigger. Can you not see my screen at all, or do you want me to make it bigger? There is a difference. 1 second, guys. Let me see if there is. Let me see if there's a problem in my screen. Great. Can you guys see my screen? Looks like you can. Perfect. हिंदी इंग्लिश बोथ ठीक है यार हिंदी में भी बताऊंगा इंग्लिश में भी बताऊंगा I'll explain in Hindi as well in English but for the purpose of official purposes I'll make sure that I tell everything in English first अगर कुछ हिंदी में रह जाता है मुझे याद दिला देना मैं हिंदी में बता दूंगा Does that work with everyone? Zoom more. I will zoom it more. Yes. Okay. Is this zoomed in enough, guys? Great. Okay. What I'll do is I have made a few of my notes. मैंने अपने खुद के notes बनाए हैं, and I'm going to use those notes and the syllabus provided by Let's Upgrade to teach you guys this session. First of all, who am I? As Prasad said, I'm Sarthak. I'm a senior software engineer. I have 9 years of experience doing this, doing programming for multiple companies. I've led teams. I've made projects that are used by MNCs. More than 3 lakh people, more than 4 lakh people interact with the code that I've written on a monthly basis. So That's a very short introduction to myself. I'll keep it brief for today because we have a lot to cover and not a lot of time, unfortunately. तो अपन लोग ऐसा करेंगे कि अभी के लिए तो क्योंकि समय कम है तो जल्दी से आगे बढ़ेंगे. मैंने अपने खुद के कुछ नोट्स बनाए हैं, मैं उन नोट्स में से भी पढ़ूंगा और जो मुझे लेट्स अपग्रेड ने नोट्स दिए हैं उसमें से भी मैं आपको पढ़ाऊंगा, जो लेट्स अपग्रेड ने जो सिलेबस दिया है. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, everyone here, I'm assuming you guys know basics of HTML, right? Is there anyone who doesn't understand HTML? I mean, I sincerely hope that you guys know HTML at the very least, so that we don't have to go into those basics, because Let's Upgrade did take those classes of HTML. I'm going to explain. I'm not going to go in details of the HTML, CSS. I'm going to assume everyone here understands HTML, and I'm going to go from there. Okay, so HTML, as everyone knows, HTML is used to create web pages. Why do we need React then? Well, there's a function that JavaScript fulfills. JavaScript उसमें एक काम अदा करता है, which is that JavaScript allows HTML to be dynamic. It allows your web pages to be dynamic. But JavaScript is also very verbose. It is also, what I mean by verbose is that it takes a lot of code to make just very little adjustments, or rather uh, insignificant adjustments in your web page. For something as simple as just selecting an element, you have to do document.getElement by type and then go on from there. React also, when you have to upgrade, it is a library, not a framework. I know, Ashutosh, it is a library, not a framework. Yeah. In any case, the function that React fills is that it makes making those dynamic pages, dynamic UIs, very trivial. Okay, it is used to rapidly create those pages. And that is the purpose why it was created initially by Facebook, and I think open sourced in 2011, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, that is why React was created. And I should have an so okay, what I'm doing right now is I am making a new folder wherein I will put all the code that I'm showing you today. Okay, so I've gone into my terminal. Now these are the things that I assume you know. What is a terminal? What is an IDE? You have Node.js and npm installed. These are the things I assume you know. For the purpose of brevity, I'm gonna go over them very, very quickly again because we have less time. Terminal is where you essentially interact with the terminal of your computer. IDE, integrated development environment, is where you actually write the code. Can be VS Code, which is the most popular IDE. Can be something like a WebStorm by JetBrains. Can be Vim or Emacs if you're so inclined. Notepad, unfortunately, is not necessarily an IDE. It is just a place to write notes. IDE means integrated development environment. It simply means something that has a few features required by developers. Something like an autocomplete, something like bracket pair colorizers and auto renames. These are the few things which are given by these IDs like VS Code. Okay, and moving on, I'm going to keep looking at my own notes that I've made. And please ask me question. Why is React considered as a library instead of a framework? Okay, I will tell you again. I do this rather quickly. Library framework is essentially very heavily opinionated, and it has a very specific and set way of producing your UI. So, what I mean by opinionated is that it tells you how to, you know, achieve routing. It tells you how to achieve state management. It tells you how to uh, organize your code, or organize your code as in which files should go where. It is a very specific set of standards that a framework imposes. React does none of it. React is lightweight and in fact very unopinionated when it comes to it. It doesn't include a lot of extras. It just is it just is a UI creation library, and that's all. It just serves one purpose. Frameworks usually serve more than one purpose. They usually have a very strict structure. They usually have a very strict framework, which is why they are called frameworks. Okay. How to install npm and node.js, sir? What's the name? Mokhit. Just go to nodejs.org, download the LTS. That will give you your Node.js and npm. More questions? React use effect? Just React use effect? Just that's the question. Well, React use effect is a hook. We'll come to it later. We'll talk about it when we talk about it. And in how many ways we create React apps? Preeti, essentially two. One is recommended by React. One is not recommended by React anymore. And I will show you both of them. More questions? Will we use VS Code? I will use VS Code for the purpose of demonstration. I usually use Vim when I'm coding for myself. I use Vim, but today when I'm showing everyone, I will use VS Code simply because I would recommend for all beginners to start using VS Code because that's the easiest way to get into development. Vim takes a little bit of, a little bit of experience. You need to have about 1 or 2 years of experience. And I'm not saying you cannot start earlier. It's just that, you need to first get into a habit of understanding which code goes where, what are the plugins, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so I've opened up my terminal. I've simply typed terminal in my Finder, and I've opened this up. Now I've gone to new dev. New dev is simply the folder wherein I host all my code. Okay, and in here I must have made a folder for Let's Upgrade. I hope I have. If not, let's make a folder for Let's Upgrade. See, I have made a folder. This is from the last time I was teaching the Let's Upgrade class. It was an HTML5 class. What we'll do is I will create a new folder, which is mkdir. This is how it works in Linux and Mac outright. For the folks who have Windows, you must have, there's something called Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL. Open that, activate that. You can use the exact same commands that I'm using. Okay, so I'm right now just making a folder for myself. Not mmk, it's mk. Mk means make directory, and I want the folder to be called Let's Upgrade and cd $#. $# means cd into the last argument. So what I'm saying is make a directory called Let's Upgrade and change directory, as in take me to that folder. Okay, I click on it, I go to Let's Upgrade. Okay, and I'm gonna move the earlier HTML5 wala folder inside it. So HTML5, this is how you move using the terminal. You write mv for move, you write the file or the folder that you want to move, and then you write the destination. I want to move it to / Let's Upgrade. That should bring it to Let's Upgrade. Let's go into the Let's Upgrade folder. And if I do LL, I would see the folder here. LL is again short form. What I'm doing is ls/altr LART in whichever manner. It just shows you whatever there is in the folder. You can see it on the Finder as well. I'm sorry, guys. So if I can show you in the Finder as well. Let me do pwd. Pwd is present working directory, and I can if I copy this. So let me copy this, and I do an open here. This is the folder, and that is the earlier project. Okay. Okay, there's a few things happening in the chat. Let me just. Can we use this command in git bash terminal? Yes, we can use this in git bash terminal. Which platform? I'm using my Mac, but these works in essentially all the systems that you have. What is context and Redux? Context we'll read about later. Redux not part of the current specification that we are reading, but if you want always reach out, but outside the class. Okay. And the videos will be available recorded on the session. Okay. Why React uses virtual DOM? Okay, React uses virtual DOM because it is faster and it does not reload your page. Normally, when you use JavaScript and you go from one link to another, or you do any dynamic function, it reloads your page. That loses all state. React mitigates that problem by using virtual DOM. Virtual DOM means it maintains the structure of a page in virtual memory, and when you change something, it only updates the specific component that you changed, not the entire page. And that is why React is faster, much faster. One second, I'll just have some water. Okay. Anyway, guys, moving on. I think I have sufficiently answered what is React. Do we move forward? Let us move forward. I've sufficiently answered what is React and why we use React. That is what I think. If you guys want, we can move forward. There are a few questions and answers, FAQs essentially, which are given in the notes provided by LetsUpgrade. If you feel that you have any more questions other than the FAQs provided by LetsUpgrade, reach out to me. I will quickly go over them. Okay. What is React and why we should use it? Like I said, React is a library for building user interfaces. Why does React improve performance compared to other front-end frameworks? React utilizes the virtual DOM, which is a lightweight copy of the actual DOM. Where there are changes in the application state, React first updates the virtual DOM and then efficiently updates only the necessary parts of the actual DOM. I think that's what I said, right? Explain the concept of JSX in React. Okay, this is not something that I talked about, but very simply put, JSX is just JavaScript representation of HTML components. That is literally the simplest definition that you can come up with. There is a more verbose definition, which is written here, which is JSX or JavaScript XML is a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows developers to write HTML-like code within JavaScript. Essentially, we are still writing code which looks like HTML and behaves like HTML, but it is actually JavaScript. That's what JSX is. In the end, the React library compiles it down or transpiles it down, not compiles. A very important difference. It transpiles it down to HTML components. Okay. Use Vite to make the process faster. I'm just also looking at the chat very quickly. Can I do in VS Code? You can definitely do it in VS Code. I am going to make okay, so there are two ways you can initialize a React project. I'm going to initialize a React project or make a React project, and then we're going to open it in VS Code. Okay, there are two ways of making a React project. One is a very old way, which is not literally not recommended by even React, but it is it is somehow still very prevalent way of making, which is using something called create React app. Okay, so you do npx create React app and you call it do not use this. This is the folder name that I'm using. Do not use this, just to signify that we don't want to use this. I am telling you this. Why? So that only for your information purposes. There's no other reason I'm telling you this, but you should know, because a lot of the projects of something before 2024, early 2024, were built using npx. It is not a recommended spec anymore. In fact, even React does not recommend it. But if I do this, it will create a project called do not do this. Let me go here. It is taking some time to build this. Mahesh, yes, this is a live upload. Saurabh, while this project is building, I'll take questions from the chat. Saurabh, you can go to the description. There are links. You can mark your attendance there. I have already learned basics of React, but I want to know what are things I missed. I am good enough. in React to create a to-do list and a few similar projects. That's great, Vishnu. But this project is aimed at a lot of people who are essentially complete beginners, and we will work with them. Sir, can I use Notepad++? You can definitely use Notepad++, Abhilash, but you will not get a few features that you get in something like a VS Code. You will probably not get autocomplete. You will not get uh, bracket pair colorizers. You will not get auto rename tags. Okay. Okay. The project is set up. Let's cd as in change directory into do not use this, and then let's do npm start. When I do that, it will start the React project. It will start it on the default port is 3000, so that's where it will start. This is my browser. Let me make it bigger so that everyone can see this, and the project is started here. Can you all see this? Can everyone see this? I need you guys to quickly tell me in the chat. Mahesh, the attendance will let uh, Let's Upgrade know, the team at Let's Upgrade know that you attended these sessions and you understand the concepts. And based on that, you can download a certificate letting people know that you actually attended and you understand the concepts. Okay. Okay. I see a lot of yeses. I'll move forward. I will, just for the sake of making sure that we have seen this, I will show this process, this entire project in VS Code as well. Also, I will use this opportunity to show you how VS Code works. I'm going to close this project from the terminal by, on my computer, I'm hitting Control+C. I think that is the same on every other computer, on Windows, on Linux. If it is not, let me know. But you press Control+C and the project will stop. Okay. Now, if you've installed, so what about bracket pair colorizers? Uh, what's the Webpack thing? Webpack is just a package. It just packages and it essentially does a lot of transpiling, packaging your files and all. Not necessarily the point of this. Not necessarily the point of this, stream, but very important for you to know. I would agree that. I would also tell you to reach out after the classes, after the class time. Reach out to Let's Upgrade so that you can, find answers to your questions. But I have to be, uh, you know, mindful of everyone's time and the session that I have to cover in the class. With that in mind, I will move forward. सर जेएस पढ़ ली है मगर कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आ रहा पवन. कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आ रहा, उसका एक सोल्यूशन है. कीप मेकिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाते रहो. प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगी, तुम्हें ज़रूर आएंगी. हम चाहते हैं कि आपको प्रॉब्लम्स आए ताकि आपकी प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करके ही आप सीखेंगे. गाइस, आई विल say this in English so that everyone understands. The one way to get better in JavaScript and React is to keep making projects, keep applying the skills that you've learned. Now, understand, you will not be able to do everything perfectly in the first go. You will not be able to do perfectly in the second go, not even in the third go. But that is the point. Every time you will get better. The only difference between you guys and me is that I've done this a couple hundred times, a couple 100,000 times. So I know the basic pitfalls which you will discover while you are making this. So please keep working on it. Okay. How efficient should we be Node to get started in React KVD? As long as you understand JavaScript, basic JavaScript, not even very advanced level. You understand basic JavaScript, you're good enough to start. Okay. Now let's move forward. How does React handle state management? First of all, what is state? When you talk about state management, you should understand what state is. State is simply just the starting condition in which the project is set up. Okay. That's all that state is. It's just the starting condition of the project. That's all. And essentially what I'm saying is I can make, let's say, let me open up something in my folder. One sec, guys. Can you all see this? This is a virtual whiteboard. Okay, so assume that you've made this. Assume that you've made this component as in a tag. This is a heading tag. What state does is state tells React component at the time of startup, when the component is starting up, it tells us what the value is. Why is it helpful? Because the values can then be made dynamic. For example, this just says hello and user name. Okay, now how will this be dynamic is because what I can do is in the state I can say user dot name is equal to, it's coming somewhere from the backend. Okay, it's Sarthak. So now when this resolves, this structure resolves, this component resolves, it will say, instead of hello username, it will say hello Sarthak and whatever your name is. Okay, that is why state is important. uh, this happens when the product is loading. Okay, what are the key features of React hooks? I will also keep looking at. Is it that we can use this React knowledge for React Native Android development? You can. MTNT, you can use. The basic concepts are the skills are transferable, so you can. The way in which you manage the state, and essentially different hooks, all of that is transferable to React Native. Live API fetching as well, I can. Let's see if it's part of the. It's not part of the scope. Not today, not tomorrow. But if you guys want, I will definitely show you how to do that. Okay. In fact, in class, I feel that is important. So in class, I will do everything that's important for you to understand and learn React, even if it is in the syllabus. Doesn't matter if it's in the syllabus or not. So even if it is not in the syllabus, I will still teach you everything that is important and required for the class. And if there is something that is outdated, completely outdated, I will show you a quick example. I will not dwell on it. Why will I not dwell on it? Because like I said, it's no longer in use. You will not use it. Nobody will use it if you're making a new project. The only state wherein you will use it is when you're maintaining a legacy project, as in someone else made that project sometime earlier and now you have to maintain it, which is going to be a small percentage, which is why you should be able to identify it, but you will not be using it anymore. So if that is you, if you are someone who's maintaining an old project, reach out to me separately. But in the interest of doing everything good for the class and teaching you everything that is relevant right now today and will be in the future, I will do it in a manner which is helpful for everyone. Is that okay to everyone? Yep. Okay, quickly. Second way to create React projects. This is not in the syllabus. I will still tell you guys. It's using something called the Vite or Vite library. Not library. It's a bundler actually. So Vite. I will. It's called vjs.dev. What I will do is I will simply show you how to create this. So cd double dot dash, let me see what's in this folder. I have the old HTML5 class. I have, do not use this. Now let's use npx vite create. That's all I have to write. That is all I have to write, and it will start a project for me. So npx vite create. Okay to proceed. Why? Yes. Okay. Let's see where it takes me. Let's see what it does while it is installing. What happened? There is some problem. Okay. Some things are. I don't know why it's causing a problem. It should not. What we'll do is we'll try again. Instead of npx, I'll use npm. and I'll do Vite at latest, just making sure that we have everything up to the latest spec. And okay to proceed. Yes. Okay, I think this works now. What do you want to call the project? I want to call it React Demo. Simple as that. I want to use React. I do not want to use TypeScript. I want to use only JavaScript. And yeah, let's just quickly. So that's how quickly it has installed our project. It has not installed the dependencies though. So that we need to do ourselves. For that, we need to go into the project. We call the project React Demo, and it is telling us what to do now, which is if I do cd React Demo, then I do npm install, and once it is installed, I can run the dev server. So I can do npm run dev, and it is working on this port. This is where it is working. Let me copy it. Let me open another browser tab, bring it up. That's where my project is. This is the project installed here. Edit src/app.jsx and save the test to HMR. If I click on the count keeps increasing. See, this is a basic project setup. This is the latest way to set up your React project. The React team, the team that made React, they recommend using Next.js as a framework. For this session, I do not recommend that. You need to learn React first before you get into Next.js. So this is what we are doing. Install it using Vite, and we'll go from there. Yash, if you only learn front end, then possibility of getting the job is less. No, not at all. Even if you learn front end, there is a vast market for front end and only front end. If you focus your energies on front end, you'll be a good front end engineer and you can charge accordingly. Understand that everyone has their specialities, and you can be good in front end, good in back end, or average in both, because everyone has only got 24 hours, right? So if you use 6 hours in studying front end and 6 hours in studying back end of the total of 12 hours, then you're only as good as 6 plus 6. But if you use 12 hours in studying front end, you're better than the one who knows only 6 hours. That is the thing. Okay. Make a course in Next.js after this one. Sonu, reach out to LetsUpgrade. Please tell them what is Vite. Sumit, Vite is essentially a bundler. It's a JavaScript bundler. It bundles different JavaScript files, transpiles them, and gives you an output. That's as simple as that. Okay. Is career gap a problem? Frag, not at all. You need to be able to explain why you took the career gap. I don't think it's a problem. And given the how difficult the market is being right now, I don't think it is a problem at all. Anyone else? I know React and Django. Is that okay? Simadri Sidhu. That's more than okay. That it makes you a full stack developer. That's perfect. What is the difference between full stack and one stack? Abul, full stack simply means that you can work on front end and back end both. Merge stack is full stack using M for Mongo, E for Express, R for React, N for Node. So merge stack is very simply full stack in Mongo Express, React Node. Okay. How can we do this on your machine, Harsh? Have you not been doing this on your machine till now? Download Node, install Node. You need to, I can't be teaching this again and again, but download and install Node. Download and install an IDE of your choice. We are using VS Code, and just do on your Node when your Node is installed. Go and do this in your Node. Where is it? to this, do npm create vite test. It will set up the project for you. Then you get into that project, run install, run dev. That's it. Okay. Now, let's make it full screen. Let's go full screen. Let's go to the next. I'm opening another tab in my terminal. Since I'm using VS Code, I'm gonna open this in VS Code. It's a very simple way to open this in VS Code. I just write code space dot. Dot signifies the current directory. So I want to, and code essentially tells the computer that you want to write code for it in VS Code. When I click enter, it will open it in VS Code for me. I will see where my VS Code has opened. And 1 second. Here it is. It is rather small. I'll make it bigger. 1 sec. Let's make it bigger. So that's the file structure. That's what you're seeing right now. When you look at Vite plus React, it is coming from here. It has to come from somewhere from here. It's coming from here. Vite plus React. See. So if I write Sarthak and save it, you'll go and see Sarthak there. As simple as that. Okay, count is count. This is your state management, state in action. You have finished your Merge Stack. Yash, you've finished your Merge Stack course, but what should I do to increase my confidence? Make more projects. As simple as that. Make more projects. Keep working. You will encounter bugs. Please work on those bugs so that you can, get over them as quickly as possible. There's no other way. Just keep working on them. You will fail. Fail quickly so that you can succeed later. Okay. Okay. I'll give you a quick tour of the project that has been initialized by Vite. Vite config.js, it is the configuration that Vite uses. You don't need to touch it. README is what you see on the GitHub page when you upload this. It is essentially human readable details about the project. That's all. Package.json. Now, this is an important file. All the dependencies that I'm using currently, and if and when I do install them, they will show up here in dependencies here, as in the project is dependent on them. Dev dependencies simply means that the project does use these dependencies to be generated, but they are not critical to the project. You can essentially delete those dependencies and still get the project to work. Okay, that's simply what dev dependencies means. Scripts are what we use to run the project. So currently I'm using, when I'm using npm run dev, it simply runs Vite. Okay, and Vite is the bundler that starts your project. If I run npm run build, it will actually run Vite build, and that is what will build your project. Lint and preview, it's about linter. Linter is an extension. Don't need it while we are studying React. I'll move on. Preview, again, don't need it. Don't worry. HTML dot index.html. I hope you all understand what index.html is. Every project needs an index.html, otherwise it will not be a front-end project. This is the index.html. This is the root. This is where we inject our React app. So, and let me show you. I can actually show it to you. If I go to main.jsx, it says React DOM dot create root. It gets it from using your regular simple JavaScript. It says document dot get element by ID root. If we do document dot get element by ID root, we'll reach here. This is document dot get element by ID. What we're doing next is we are rendering your React app, the entire app inside it. That's what we're doing. In React strict mode, React strict mode simply means it's a dev mode. Use it for writing React. We can get rid of it as well. If we do it this way works too. Just make sure that it works. Let me refresh. It works. Count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm not using it. I'm not using it. So I can actually get rid of it. So you guys see this red squiggly line. This is coming from my this is coming from my linter. How does linter know to do this? How does my IDE know to do this? Well, essentially it is following the command set by linter. This is why I said use an IDE. IDE will give you special helpful tips like this to avoid mistakes from being made in the first place. Notepad++ will not do that. Okay. Okay, React is defined but never used. It is said that it is saying that we are importing React, but we are not using React anywhere. Are we using React anywhere? Nope. React as a variable. This entire structure is using React, but we are importing the React variable. We are not using the React variable anywhere. So essentially, we can get rid of the variable, and it still works. See? It works. I do a Control-Shift-R, which is refresh. I do count. It works. Great. Let's move forward. I will have to move forward quickly. Okay, how does React facilitate code reusability and maintainability? React does that by packaging bits of code into known functions. Those functions can be reused. For example, if you want, I hope everyone here understand what functions are. That is the basics of JavaScript. Everyone in this class must, I hope, understands the basics of JavaScript before coming to this class. And going by that assumption, functions, the React components are essentially functions, and functions can be used to wrap logic that is reused. So, for example, if there is a function that shows your name or shows the user's name and that shows it on 3 different places, instead of writing that function 1, 2, 3 times, we can write that function only one time and import it at all the 3 places. That is what React components do. That is how they enable reusability and maintainability. What does maintainability do? Maintainability means that you can maintain that function or edit that function. So instead of saying user.name, if I want to do user.first name plus user.last name, instead of editing that function in 3 places, 1, 2, 3, I can edit it in a single place, and all 3 places will import that functionality. That is how React functions are maintainable. Okay, I will go on. Without graduation, can I get a internship as a front-end developer? You can. What is NPX and NPM? Please explain, sir. Surjit, NPM is Node Package Manager. It is essentially just telling your terminal that, you know what, I'm going to use the Node Package Manager to work with the Node packages. I can either install the Node packages, or I can remove the Node packages, or I can run the Node packages. That's what npm does. Npx is a special command for Node Package Manager, which simply says that whatever follows npx, as in whatever comes after npx, simply execute it. That's it. That's the difference between npm and npx. If I miss your question, I'm sorry. I'm coding. I'm looking at a lot of chat, and I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at the notes. I'm looking at the syllabus given by LetsUpgrade. Please do not get frustrated or irritated. Please send the message again. Okay, let's move on. What does React servers? How does React support server-side rendering, and why it is important? React supports server-side rendering through libraries like Next.js. SSR enables the server to pre-render initial HTML of web pages and send it to the client, which improves perceived performance and SEO of the application. With SSR, users can use content more quickly, especially on slow networks or devices, and search engines can crawl the index content effectively. what was I reading? I was reading from the notes and the syllabus given by Let's Upgrade to each and every one of you. It's in the description. Go from there, open it. That is where I'm reading it from. Okay. Now I'll explain it in very simple terms. Uh, okay. So React supports server-side rendering. Essentially, what React initially was that it is just a UI rendering library. It does that on the front end. But when it does that on the front end, let me show you. If I open the uh, inspector here, if I open the inspector here, here's the inspector. I'll make it bigger. Okay. So because it does it on the front end, all this Sarthak that I've written, you will not see it in my inspector. See, it's in the dev, that is why it's rendering, but otherwise you will not see in the you will not see all of this in the inspector because it is injected from using a JavaScript library at runtime. So when this is not there, while this is useful in many cases for making dashboards, for making admin panels, this is useful. But if you have something like an e-commerce platform or a blog, this is not really useful because how do blogs and e-commerce platforms work? They depend heavily on platforms like Google and Bing to search them and make them searchable so that they can rank higher. When we are using JavaScript to inject them at runtime, the the crawlers for Google do not have anything to search, so they will not be able to search it. Therefore, they will not be able to rank it. Therefore, server-side rendering came in to solve that problem, which is essentially it makes the page everything on the back end on the server and streams it as plain text on the front end. And so, therefore, when the website loads, it does not have to import the data at runtime, and therefore, it does not have to. That makes the website quicker. That makes the website crawlable. That is the two. Those are the two things that it does. Where's the network tab? I'm trying to look for the network tab. Let's do a refresh. Come on, move. See, it quickly tries to get all of these things. When you're running in production, it will also get the JavaScript file from where it gets all these dynamic properties. Right now, it's not showing because I'm running in the development version of this. As a matter of fact, let me try doing this in production. Hold on, guys. If I do this in production, let's open this and let's do a yarn build. If I do this in production, it will output everything in dist. And if I open this and run this in my live server, open this here. Now this is the production build of it. Something wrong with the production build. I don't actually have a internal server running right now. I'm just using the Vite server. I will probably have to use something like an Nginx to run the files outputted by Vite. The actual HTML file output by Vite, I probably have to use something like an Nginx, which I don't have right now. Anyway, moving forward. npm uses R storage to create apps while npx lends package from npm to execute code. Is it true? In a sense, it is true. As in, when you use npm, it uses our storage because it saves the package in your computer so that you can use the package even if there is no internet. Npx, while you're right, you're, that it does not necessarily use a storage, it also does not work if there is no internet. So SSR doesn't pre-render content; it renders the DOM on server, which is the skeleton, etc. While at the client side, it adds the interactivity, which is called hydration. Okay. Pre-render and SSR are both different things. Is there a point that you're trying to make, or is just anyway? Let us move forward. How does React support? Oh, we've done this. What are they using? What are the advantages of using React in large-scale applications? In large-scale application, React offers several advantages, such as component-based architecture for modularity and reusability, a virtual DOM for efficient updates, and performance optimization. Strong community support with a vast ecosystem of library and tools, uh, and compatibility with server-side rendering and progressive web app development. In simpler terms, in large scale application, it makes your job easier by making your project faster, quicker, easier to render. What I mean by easier to render is you can get dynamic data easily, quickly integrated with your React library. It's a faster way to do it than if you would use something like plain JavaScript. Okay. Okay, how does React address accessibility concerns in web applications? React provides built-in features and best practices for ensuring accessibility in web applications. Developers can use semantic HTML elements, provide alternative text for images, manage focus and keyword navigation, utilize accessibility APIs, so on and so forth. Essentially, React does out of the box provide all the features which your HTML does provide to, you know, give make your site more accessible. By more accessible, I mean it provides data for screen readers so that people who are hard of seeing can access your website, and you know, all those things essentially, which HTML does. Setting up the React environment, npx create React app. We have already done this. uh, Create React App is a command line utility that allows developers to quickly set up React projects. We've done this. We're not using Create React App. We are not, even if it is given here. I want to give you the best and the most latest of everything of, you know, the setup that we use, which is not to use Create React App. We use Vite now. The purpose of npx command line context of setting up React environment. Npx is a package runner tool that comes built with npm. It allows you to execute commands from npm packages without having to install them globally. I think again, we talked about this. What are the essential prerequisites for running npx create React app my app successfully? You need to have Node.js installed and npm installed. Node.js and npm, simply download Node.js, install it, you'll get everything. Describe the directory structure created by Create React App. We have not talked about it. We have talked about Vite. If you want me to talk about the directory structure by Create React App, we will. We will do that. But I must warn you again, not at all something that is required, not at all something that we do. Uh, at most, you use Vite or Next.js. That is everything that's happening latest. Move on. What are the advantages of using Create React App over manually configuring a React environment? It does everything in a single line instead of doing it over multiple lines, setting up your own bundler, setting up your own structure. That's what it does. Can you customize the Webpack or Babel configurations in Create React project? If so, how? Yes, we can do that. We can extract away the Webpack and Babel configurations to provide seamless development environment. It also provides an eject command that allows to eject from default configuration and customize Webpack and Babel configurations according to your need. So essentially, what it boils down to is, yes, you can configure it. There are commands for it, commands like eject, which ejects it from the regular configuration so that you can add your own configurations. Okay, guys, we have probably half an hour, 45 minutes more, and we have a lot to cover. It's already 8. So I will be going over this. I am assuming, guys, all of this that is provided by, all of the notes provided by Let's Upgrade is something that you have gone through or can go through on your own, and you do not need me to read you these notes, because I assume everyone here is not a school student. You don't need me hand holding you. I'm not your professor. I'm someone who's in the industry, who's working in the industry, and who has live knowledge. That is what I'm leading with. Okay, let's go on. Okay, I can't understand what the lecture is. I'll explain by writing some code. Ritik, Raj, the lecture is about React, setting up React, setting up the components and giving you a demonstration. The first lecture, because this is the first lecture, is heavy on words, because I'm assuming that everyone is a beginner. I have to go with that example. Okay, let us, this is where it is. What is the next thing that we need to do? Understanding JSX syntax. Let's understand JSX syntax. Let's go to app.jsx. I'm going to do something rather radical here. I am going to take everything from inside this component and take it out so that we can build a component from scratch. Yeah, let's build a component from scratch. This will give us a good opportunity to understand what a component is and how to write the JSX. Okay, once I've done this, there are some errors that I need to handle. I don't need the count anymore. Let's get rid of the count. App remains. I don't need the logo anymore. I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay, now it will not load anything. I wanted to just write my name. Does it show my name? It does show my name. Great. Let's go to the console. Hot reload. Great. Okay. Sixth line of code. Prem, you have to be a little more verbose, my friend. Please be a little more verbose. Okay. So if you're talking about this, this is just an empty fragment. In HTML, we do it like this. We write a div, right? This is just an empty fragment. It serves the same purpose as div. It is essentially, it's just a wrapper around your JSX elements. Okay, and why do we use it? Because all your React functions, React components should return at least one JSX element. What I'll do is I'll get rid of everything so that we can build one from scratch. Okay, let's build one from scratch. React components. What are React components? React components are simply functions, JavaScript functions. Okay, so let's write a JavaScript function. Const app is equal to and let's do an export default app. Why am I calling it app? Because that is already defined here. App. I'm importing app and I'm calling it here. I can call it something else, but then I have to change everything. I right now don't wish to. So export default app. Okay. Again, what are components? Components are simply JavaScript functions which return a JSX element. JSX is simply, again, in very, informal terms. What I mean by informal is that this is not the very verbose, and I don't want you to use the verbose. Verbose you can go and read on MDN yourself. I'm telling you from someone who has, let's say, 9+ years of experience, which is me. So JSX is simply a JavaScript representation of your HTML elements, as in whatever your HTML elements is, you're representing them in JavaScript. It uses a very similar format to HTML. So, for example, if you want to make divs in HTML, you write open triangle bracket, you write a div, you close the triangle bracket, and that's your opening tag. Then you make your closing tag, which is open triangle bracket slash div and closing triangle bracket. This is how you make it in Java in HTML. JSX is, like I said, JavaScript representation of it. It does a JavaScript representation of HTML elements. It does the similar thing. So you can write it in a similar manner. Now I can do this, and I can write let's upgrade React class. And let's see if it shows. It shows let's upgrade React class. Nice. What's the error? Clearly it's a warning. Can we escape with? I suppose. Is it? If I write this here or here, let's not get into it. Okay. So this is simply what a React component is, and like I said, you make React elements. So you make HTML elements. JSX is simply a representation of those HTML elements in JavaScript for the purpose of making it easier. About 95-98% of all the elements and all the API that you get in HTML is similar. For example, div in HTML is div in JSX. uh, Form in HTML is form in JSX, so on and so forth. But there are some differences, some very minor differences, which arises most notably, like in HTML, you give class. In React, since it's JavaScript, you don't call it class, you call it class name. Now, where this class name comes from, it comes from JavaScript. It comes from base JavaScript, but it serves the same purpose as attributing, as giving an attribute called class in HTML. Simple as that. Okay. Show the div. How many div using? Show the div. Show the div. Okay. Let's show the div. There's the div that I just made. Is that okay? Do we move on? I mean, I'm afraid we must. Uh, okay. Let's see what's up next. What's up next? Creating a rendering component, embedding expressions in JSX. Expressions are essentially dynamic pieces of code. Now let's use the state here. Now let's get state. You will not understand state right now. Don't worry about it. I just want to show you how dynamic content works. Okay. So import use state from React. Import use state from React. Run. Use state is declared, but its value never read. Let's change that. Let's go here again, guys. Very important. What I'm writing, the next line of code on line number 5, you will not understand. Not right now. You will probably understand it tomorrow. But for the purpose of demonstration, showing how this dynamic thing works, I'm gonna do this anyway. So use state, and let's call it Sarthak, and let's do a name. Name is a protected word. Let's keep username and set username. Const username. Set username is declared, but its value never read. Username. Okay, what I've done is I've Guys, am I audible now? Okay, the audio went off. The audio went off. I am sorry, guys. Sometimes this causes any problem. Am I audible now? Can you guys let me know in the chat if I am audible now? I have, checked my mic and everything. I should be audible. Yes. Okay. Audible now. Now the audio is fine. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes the internet or anything, sometimes these things misbehave, and we end up in situations like this. Anyway, as I was saying, this line you will not understand today. Don't worry about it. What this line is doing is it is taking this variable username, and it is setting the value to this Sarthak Batra. And when I'm rendering the component, it is setting this value here, username, because this was the variable, right? What is the use of expressions? Expressions can be used to dynamically change values. For example, imagine instead of value, which I've hard coded right now as Sarthak, imagine if this value was fetched from an API. Okay, so what what will then happen is this let's upgrade React class username can be rendered dynamically for any user at runtime. Okay, expressions is simply writing JavaScript code which can be rendered by the component. What you can do is, you know, you can write, let's say, literal JavaScript expressions here. You can write, this is a string, right? Hold on. API is application programming interface. Low volume. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Yes, I am audible. Thank you, Adil. Shorts. Shorts. That's a nice name. So expressions, instead of, I can simply write JavaScript. So instead of writing just my name, what I've done is this is the symbol below the escape key. So if there's a button below the escape key, if you press that button, you will get this symbol. These are opening and closing backticks. Opening backtick and closing backtick. Okay. Now, these are used to render strings. Okay, these are used to render strings in JavaScript. So if I write hello, let's upgrade React class hello, it will write strings. Okay, I can also just between the brackets, I can render some JavaScript code. So if I write 4 plus 5, it will solve for it and it will write it here. Okay, any valid JavaScript code can be dynamically rendered here. So I can write 2 to the power of 5, and that should give you 32. 2 to the 4 to the 8 to the 32. That's 2 to the power of 5. Okay, that is what this does. It is as simple as that. JSX versus HTML key difference. I sincerely hope that you understand the difference between JSX and HTML. It is 99% the same, except because JSX is essentially JavaScript XML. So it is in fact JavaScript, even though it is made to look like HTML. It is JavaScript. So there is very minute difference in the API. For example, if you have to write the attribute of class, which, if you go to index.html and I make an element here, let's make 2 elements called class and hold on 2. If I make 2 elements, hold on, come on. See, if I make 2 elements like this, and if I give them a class of my name, or let's give them a class of LetsUpgrade. right? If I do it like this, in HTML I have to write class, but in JavaScript, sorry, in your JSX, you have to write it, give it class name. For essentially gives it the same, uh, does the same function as it does in HTML, but there's very many difference in JavaScript and JSX and HTML. Oh, there's one more thing. You write JSX in your JS files, and you give them the extension of JSX, letting it know that it is a JavaScript XML file. Okay. Aditya, those are template literals. They aren't only used to render strings. I think you're wrong, Aditya. They are only used to render strings. You can dynamically put anything inside it. You can dynamically put an object. You can dynamically put another value. It will be converted to string. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to do your own research. But it does that dynamically, but it does convert it into a string. So it is only used to render strings. Okay. Okay, guys. Sir, can I make a website dynamic using React.js? Yes, Madan, you can. You can do it. Make it using React.js. Okay. Okay, guys. Do we have time? Oh, we have about 15-20 minutes. I think that's enough time for me to, go through the rest of the session. Let's talk about functional components versus class components. Functional components is simply a React function that I showed you right now. Again, let me open up my own notes that I made about class components, because class components are not used. I have been in this industry for the last 9 years. I have not used class components since 2021. So I had to make my own notes just so that I can show you. Again, for the purpose of clarity, class components are not used anywhere anymore. You are not supposed to use class components when you're making a new project, but you should understand class components. In the extremely rare case that you land upon a legacy project, someone else has written that project pre 2021, and now you have the good luck under the double quotes to extend that project. So I will show you what they look like, but again, I don't even think the current the current version of React.js supported. What's the current version of React.js that we are on? I don't know if it supports it. I'm pretty sure it does not. So React 18.2 does not support class components. I mean, if that helps, but I can show you what a class component looks like. Username, set username, use state. Let's, for now, comment it out. We're not using it. I don't want my ID to look all red. Let's make another component inside the src file. Let's call this, let's make a folder called components, and let's call it class component.jsx. This will probably not work. In fact, this will not work. Let me import React, and do we have component from React? Okay, class test extends component. Okay, it was simply a class, like I said earlier. Like, now we use functions. Earlier you used to use class. Why did we used to use class? Because we didn't like us very much. That's a joke. Functions make it easier. Okay. Uh, I mean, class components, it has a lot of baggage attached to it. It has, essentially what I'm trying to say is you'll be if you don't like yourself, go on and use class components. And again, I will show you how class components are written. I will hopefully not expect you to write any more class components. Anyway, so let me write a class component, and it has a render function. So a render function, that returns a JSX, as simple as that, which is this is coming from the class component. Okay, let's do an export default test. Export default test. What does it say? Why is it complaining now? React is defined but never used. Okay, then I'll not use it. Are you happy? Great, I hope this is happy now. Okay, class components, they still work. Awesome. Don't use them. If you really value your sanity, let me import them. Import test from, let's go here, let's render it, test. Hey, that works. Awesome. Again, class components, if you're using it, I will show you all the APIs. But as someone who's 9 years of experience, who's someone who's leading teams, don't use class components. I will reject your code if you use class components in my team. I think uh, any competent developer will reject your code if you're using class components. That's old API, that's deprecated API. Don't use them. Okay. What's up with uh, Aditya? He's writing a lot of things in chat. A lot of things which yeah, it does not support because React is backward compatible, but you should not be using them as they are deprecated. What free rendering actually means? I think you're writing for the third or fourth time what free rendering actually means, Aditya. It doesn't mean anything. The static page will be cached, but SSR React's cert template literals are used to construct tag templates when you get all args as array. They are also used for string interpolation. Aditya, I would really I know, man. Go read about the string literals in from MDN. It is a concept borrowed from other languages like C, C++. Uh, and while the implement it, in fact, is the same implementation. That is why it is, implemented in React. Let's not go there. It's not useful to go there. I have a class to complete. Let's work on that. Okay. So guys, this is a class component. You need to write class test extends component. Then there is a render function. The render function returns some JSX, and that JSX is rendered wherever you write that class component. Let's call it the class component. Let's call it class component. And when I do that, it will still be rendered. Yep. But let's upgrade it. Let's call it the right thing for this purpose of clarity. Okay. Now I will write div. I will bring it inside so that it is in the next line. It is in the next line. Great. Okay, I'll tell you quickly what I did. I just called it the class component again, even though since it's an default export, I can call it whatever name I want. But for the purpose of consistency, I'm calling it class component because that is what is the name of the component here. Now, there are lifecycle methods associated with class components. Lifecycle method like component did mount, component did update, component did unmount. I will talk about them tomorrow. But I will ask you this question. Let's make a class component. I will also make a function component here. .jsx. Let's call it .jsx. And let's call it a function component. Let's get rid of this. Now go to the app.jsx, import the function component, and write it here. Come on. They're not imported. Did it not import? I did it not import. It did import. Let's work. Let me be a good compiler engineer. Write it down properly. Function component. What else? Let's give it the name properly here as well. And export properly here. Instead of div, I can just do a fragment. Instead of return, I can do this. Okay, this works. Function component, it is coming from here. This is a function component. Guys, give me a minute. I'll make it shorter still and then explain you what it means. Let's do the const function component equal to, I will get rid of this, I will get rid of this, and I will get rid of this. This is your function component. It's essentially a component that returns some JSX. Right now it's returning a string. I can wrap this up in a simple fragment, and it does the same thing. This is a function component. So at least in my experience, this right now is much easier to write than this. I hope you see why I'm bullish on it. As a matter of fact, if I do an export here, I can get rid of this as well. It's a single line everything. And then I need to get it like this. It still works the same if I refresh it. Again, for those who do not understand, let me tell you what's happening. This is a function declaration that I've written in JavaScript. I hope you understand that. This is const function. It does not take any argument, so it's an empty bracket. It has to return essentially it must return some JSX. So even if I write div here, it is returning some div. Okay, and that is what makes it a function component. I'm exporting it in the same line. Okay, and importing it here. This is where I've imported it. I have rendered it here. So it's a much cleaner implementation of a JavaScript, of a React component. Though to be honest, I've deliberately made it a little more reductive just to make it fit in one line. It is usually not in one line because there are other parts to it. But even then, even still, it is a cleaner, more readable implementation than your class components. Uh, Ideally, you use a return here. Why do you use a return here? Because there may be a case that you have to use state here, like I was doing earlier. Okay, there may be a case that you have to do the state, in which case let me import it. If only I can write. Again, if only I can write. Use state, I have to import it as a function, and this is a state Sarthak, and I have to do const username. Oh, okay. So this is why we you know, actually give it a return statement and give it opening, closing brackets. When I wrote them in a single line, I did it deliberately just to show you how small an implementation can be. But in a real world, it's usually not as small, but it is still definitely smaller than all your class component, because in class component now, if you want the same thing, if you want a state, you must write more API like as a constructor. And hold on, in that constructor you pass the props open and come on, this is a similar API as that props and super props, and you set the state here. Now you do a this dot state, you do user name, it's no user name Sarthak. This is the exact same implementation in your class that I've done here. It's a much cleaner implementation of it, which is why we write it in, functional components. And let's move forward. We have to talk about passing data from components to props, from passing data to components. We are actually over our time here, but we will still see if we can do it. Mini movie moods. Uh, okay, Hindi tomorrow. I'll check with the Let's Upgrade team. If Hindi is allowed, I can write in Hindi. But I think for all intents and purposes, it's going to remain English. हिंदी अलग से समझा दूंगा. मिनी मूवी मूड्स हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ, बट लेट्स अपग्रेड से पूछना एक बार पूछ लूंगा मैं कि मैं हिंदी में सबको समझा सकता हूँ. अक्सर इतना टाइम नहीं होता कि हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में समझाऊँ, इसलिए मुझे एक ही लैंग्वेज चुननी होती है, जो मैं सबके लिए इंग्लिश चुनता हूँ. और ऐसे ही अपन लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे. नो सर, कंटिन्यू इन इंग्लिश प्लीज. आई विल कंटिन्यू इन इंग्लिश. आई विल चेक विद द लेट्स अपग्रेड टीम. इफ दे वांट मी टू स्पीक इन हिंदी एज वेल, आई विल. ओके. Okay. Okay, so now let us, what's next for us? For us, what's next is we are passing some props. Okay, let's pass some props. I'll give you an example today. I will probably explain this in greater detail tomorrow, but I will give you an example today. Props is essentially the setup properties for your React.js components. So, for example, we made a functional components and we want to, oh, come on, I didn't want to delete it. I'm sorry. I wanted to give it a last name. I'm setting an attribute myself and I'm calling it Batra. So, props are essentially what you pass on to your uh, functions, the components that you make. So I've made a functional component. I've given it a prop of last name. Okay. You need to access these props by first of all enabling writing props here. Then what you can do is this is a, or I can simply write the prop name here. I'll do that later. Props dot last name. That is the API that I use, right? This will be available here. Props validation. These are all ESLint errors. Ignore it for right now, but it should work. See, it does work. Sarthak Batra. Props is essentially the properties that we pass on to your components. In very simple terms, props is the properties that we pass on to your components. It's as simple as that. Okay. And these errors, these are coming from the linter that I've set up. My linter is very strictly set. I will probably disable it for tomorrow's class, but ignore it for now. So just similar to this is coming from the linter. It says that I've declared a variable. I've not used it, so let's not declare it. Let's not declare it. Yeah. Hold on. I'm just doing this to satisfy my linter. You don't have to do this. I'm sorry, my voice keeps going. There's some problem. Uh, there is some problem for, you know, with the internet connection. But I'm sorry, my voice keeps going. Believe me that I'm not doing this intentionally. But yeah, that's what props are. Props are the properties that we pass when we are rendering the component. We will read more about this tomorrow. We are really out of time right now. So what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna end this session, and we will continue this session tomorrow. Let's just make sure I'm being everyone can hear me. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Aditya, I was not writing prop types, bro. Relax, chill. I was writing a type. I was using TypeScript. I was using really chill, bro. Prop types are again not even required here. I was using TypeScript to write all of this. That's an interface in TypeScript. You really need to chill, my man. How much React will we learn? Guys, everything that's given in the Let's Upgrade syllabus, everything that's given in the notes, we will learn them. And if time allows, I want to give you extra knowledge. So if time allows, I will do that. If not, you will have to reach out to me at some different time and we will do that. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I think that is the session for today. That is the end of the session for today. We'll meet here again dot at 6:30 tomorrow. Let's try not be late. I know I am the last person to tell you because we began late today, but that's not going to happen tomorrow. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.